I am now on day 6 of self-isolating, and I'm starting to lose my marbles a little bit. Also, I have had quite a few people asking me questions about how to colour their hair from home, if they need to touch their roots up, and a few other questions. So I just thought what I might do is maybe upload a few videos. Maybe every couple of days I'll put a video up just answering a few questions and addressing any things that you want to maybe go through, just to keep you going in these desperate times. Obviously I wouldn't normally recommend dyeing your hair from home with a box dye, but I totally get that at the same time everyone wants to keep those greys covered and want to feel good about ourselves in these horrible times. So what I thought I might do is I'm just going to upload this really quick video, just go through how to apply your roots from home, a really quick and easy way, no fuss, and once you've mastered it, you'll be well away, you'll be fine, just to keep on top of it. But obviously at the same time I would like to have a business to come back to, so I'm not going to give away too many secrets because I want you guys to all come back to me when this is over, so I can do your hair again. But yeah, just to keep you guys going for now, we're just going to start straight away. What I want to go mention first is, if you are using a colour for grey hair, that's specifically for grey hair, they're normally a bit more pigmented, so try and not start around your hairline, because if you do, you might find that it goes a bit darker around there. They tend, like I said, just have a bit more pigment in, just to try and penetrate through the white grey hairs. So just bear that in mind, and if you are using a colour that says that on the box, maybe just don't start around the hairline, start through the parting, which is where I'm going to start today now anyway. So first thing to remember is to just try and get these sections in first, nice and neat and tidy. It's quite straightforward to do it yourself. Obviously if you have a loved one or someone that's at home self-isolating with you that can help you out, ideal. I've obviously got a bowl and a brush, but some box colours I think have like little squeezy bottles with the nozzles on, so you can just use the nozzle if you need to section it off. But what I want you to do first is, even if you don't normally have a middle parting, put in a middle parting. So with a comb, if you have a comb or a brush at home, or if not, use the end of the brush or the nozzle like we said. And what we're going to do is try and not use loads of hair dye at this point, because you don't want to run out halfway through. We've probably all done that before, but it's not ideal. So at this point, obviously making sure that the roots are covered, but just don't go slapping on loads when you're at the front, because you're going to have to make sure you've got enough left for the back. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the middle parting. On each side of the parting, we're going to paint the roots either side. I'm just, I'm going about 1 inch, which should probably be about the same for most of you at home. Probably just, just under 1 inch, half an inch or so of regrowth. So just going to go all the way through, and then we're going to, where you've gone to your parting, you're then going to go from the top and you're going to go all the way down. So if you're doing it on yourself, parting, stop, and then paint that bit, and then from the top you're going to go all the way down to the back of the neck in a nice straight line. It is much easier to use the tip of a comb or a brush when you're doing this, and just comb all the hair out of the way, and do one side first and go all the way down. Now I'm going to do this whole video in real time. It's probably only going to take me about 10 minutes. Obviously it might take you guys a little bit longer the first time you're doing it, but I just want to show you how easy it can be if you just need to get it all done. So don't waste like half an hour making this line absolutely perfect, because as long as you've got your sections in place, that's all that matters. You don't have to worry about it being like dead straight. But what you've got then is you're going to go through the whole parting, and then also through the back section there as well. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go from the crown, the top of the head here, and we're going to do partings to the back of the ear, like this. So you're going to start from the crown, go all the way to the back of the ear, And just use your fingers to feel where you need to be going. When I'm doing this on my own hair, I mean, obviously, you know, the salon is so busy all the time. Like, we never have time to do each other's hair that much anymore. So I do tend to have to do my hair myself at home just to touch my roots up, keep me going. So what I will normally do is I'll normally with my fingers just make sure I've got that, like, you know, that sectioning right behind the ear, because it obviously is harder unless you're amazing at like balancing mirrors and stuff. It is quite hard to do it. So just like with your fingers, just make sure you're feeling around everywhere and you've got all your sections in. Now we call this a hot cross bun section. That's how I was taught in college. So what you'll see is you get a cross all the way through the hair. So you've now got 4 sections, which is what you need at this point. So this is going to make it much easier for you. So you're going to do each section by section, and then that will ensure that the whole head and that all the roots are completely covered in colour. So many people you see, you know, they'll make sure all the bits at the top are done lovely. And then if the wind blows and the back of the hair's seen, like underneath, the coverage isn't so great. So just doing it this way will just make sure that you do get every single bit covered and coloured. So, got all your sections in. Now this is the next step. What we're going to do is I'm going to take a section and I'm going to go from the line at the back, going from ear to ear, and the line through the parting. So I'm going to turn it around so you can see. So I'm going to get my brush or my little nozzle thing, and I'm going to come across and I'm going to do a line just like that. A little bit of colour, and we're going to come across from the section to section, line to line. We're just doing a straight line across. And what you'll see, if you take small enough sections, so you don't want it to be any thicker than that, otherwise you're not going to cover all the hair. So what you want to do is you just want to make sure across that line you are completely covering your root section. Again, you shouldn't need to slap it on here, because every time I come across and I lift it, as long as that section is thin enough, when I pull it down, I'm going to show you, you should be able to see quite a lot of colour on that section there. So you want to spread that out, otherwise, you know, that's just excess colour. So you just want to make sure that you're not putting too much on. And we're going to go all the way down the side of the head, literally just following it all the way down until we get to the hairline at the front, making sure that the sections are not too thick. If you get to this point and you're struggling, you know, this, if your head's a bit wider or narrow or whatever, and you get to this as the widest point here, if you need to, just take that in 2 sections instead, just so that it's a bit less fiddly for you. But as long as you're making sure that every line you're taking, if you're using your fingers, just make sure you're rubbing all the hair dye to cover the roots. And we're coming down to this front bit now. And then what you'll find is, there's going to be lots of little fine hairs around your hairline. So you just want to make sure that all of those are in, and don't rush these sections, because this is the bit that the hair is quite stubborn. If you have got any white hairs, silver white hairs around here, you just want to make sure that you've got every single one completely covered with hair dye. And lift it all up out of the way. So it's quite nice, because now you've got all the hair from this section off the face. Then you want to go around and just make sure that you've completely covered around this hairline. If you have any Vaseline at home, then you can put a little bit of Vaseline around the hairline as well. That will just act like a little bit of a barrier, and that will stop it from staining your skin if you are using a darker colour. If you're not using a darker colour, then you know you should be fine. So that's that section done in a few minutes. So now we're going to go on to the other side. and do exactly the same as what you've just done, but on the other side. And when you're doing this yourself, this is the easier sections to do because you can see it, obviously. So, you know, these sections, you should be able to keep these ones quite nice and neat and tidy, and making sure you're not picking up too much hair as you're going down. If you have any parts of your hair where you do have little sections that grow out with quite a high percentage of white hair, then just make sure that you do just put an extra little bit of colour on those. Sometimes people can have little spots of hair that grow out just slightly whiter. So we're going all the way down here. Remember, if you take a section it is too big, just let go of it and pick it up again, because you really need to make sure that you're not picking up too much hair. I think that's where a lot of people, you know, can go wrong. They're just doing such big sections that the colour is only going to colour whatever it touches. So, you know, if you're picking up loads of hair and it's not completely saturated in colour, it's not going to do anything. So you just need to make sure that you're not going to get a patchy result, and make sure it's all completely covered as you're going down. And now regarding actual hair colours, what to use, you know, I obviously don't use box colours that often, so I don't really know, you know, the brands that are out there and the shades and stuff that they do, but the actual depth, the darkness of colour, the bases 1 to 10 are universal through any colour house or like colour brand. So if you need to, please just message me and I will advise you on which level you need to get, which base level you would need. The tones are always slightly different in different brands, but I can help you out as much as I can, because I'd hate for you to pick one up, you know, they'll say light brown and it will come out black or something like that. So, you know, I'd much rather be able to advise you and, you know, kind of stop that from happening. So please don't be, you know, please don't be afraid to message me if you need to ask me anything at all. That's what I'm here for. But you just want to make sure that you know, you're not getting one that's too dark, because that would not be good news for me going forwards. So again, just make sure that it's all completely covered under these little bits, little sideys. There we go, and up and around the ear as well, don't forget, and then really getting in there on those front bits. So there's the two front sections done. So once you've done each section, you just want to make sure that you're bringing the hair back to, you know, where you want it to be. So lift up any sections on the right side. So that's the front bit done now. So when you come to do the back, this is obviously the trickier bit, but like I said before, just use your fingers to feel. So as long as you've got those sections that you've put in at the beginning, you should be able to feel where you need to go from side to side. So the biggest thing you need to remember, especially on these back bits, you have a lot more hair at the back of your head. It can sometimes be a bit more dense, I find. So covered in conditioner already. Yeah, so you just want to make sure that when you're lifting it up, look in the mirror, and if you can see through that section, then that's fine. If you pick it up and it's way too thick, like this, then just drop a little bit back down and pick it up. You just don't want to be, you know, missing bits at the back at this point. You want to make sure that it's all completely covered and you go all the way down. Especially when you get to the bottom in a minute, what I'll do is I'll normally use my hands and I'll go around my hairline and I'll follow it with the brush. So I'll feel for my hairline and I'll follow it all the way around, and I'll paint it as I'm going like that, and just paint it all up just to make sure that it's completely completely covered. And you want to make sure as well that you don't get the ends, especially if you have been in to see us and you have, you know, a bit more of an ombre or balayage where you've got lighter colour on the ends. Doing it this way is much better because you're not going to get any colour on the lighter bits of your hair. It's really hard sometimes, you know, to be able to do it, but at least doing it this way, when you're starting at the top and working your way down, you'll just minimise the chances of that happening. So that's the other section done. Let it down. And just be careful to not overlap. You know, you don't need to, you only want to do the bits that need to be doing. So don't just slap it on all over for the sake of it, because actually pulling it through the ends every time, build up of colour, can sometimes be more damaging, you know, or just as damaging as it can be to bleach your hair and straighten your hair all the time, because your hair can only take so much. So if you keep putting it on the ends every single time, you're going to find that you get a really dense sort of, you know, dark, crunchy sort of feeling at the ends of your hair, which isn't great. So you just want to make sure that you don't do that. We're almost finished, coming all the way down. I've had a few people as well actually asking me about doing, you know, they've got to do their husbands or boyfriends or son's hair, because, you know, within however many weeks we might be at home for, you know, they're going to start looking a little bit out of control. So if that's something that you think you might maybe want me to go through, then just let me know, and maybe I could try and do like a little video of doing a basic, like a basic, when I say basic I mean basic, like a basic, you know, tidy up for guys, if you have the stuff at home to be able to do it. We've all got to try and do what we can to get through these times. Right here. So just at the bottom now. So what I'm going to do, the last little bit, my God, I never do that. Mix up the perfect, well, it mix it, it's conditioner, but you know, it was the perfect amount in the bowl. Right, so the last bit, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure all the hair's lifted up, and this is where I'm going to, if I was doing it myself, I'd turn my hair upside down and just make sure that I get in all the way around and it's all completely covered. It's always better to be safe than sorry. So, you know, really tuck in behind the ears, make sure you've got every little bit covered nicely, all around the hairline. And then what you can do at this point, if you're not gonna, you know, if you do have really dark hair and it's a semi-permanent, you know, you can, I don't mind if you are gonna pull it through, but only do that for like the last 5 minutes or so. If not, you know, this is a good time. This is, the colour's gonna work for about 35 minutes almost. It shouldn't be any more than that really. Most colours, or all colours, tend to stop working after 35 minutes. So 30 to 35 minutes. So what you could do is put like a conditioner or a treatment. I mean, I've got some Olaplex on my hair at the moment. But what you can do is, if you have like a nice treatment at home or conditioner, now is a good time to just pop it on the ends and just let it cook away whilst the roots are doing. And then, you know, it will just give it a little bit of a treatment as well. So as you can see, that is the whole head now completely covered. And you've got your little 4 sections. You should still be able to see them. Like that. Just to make sure that it's all completely saturated everywhere. So hopefully that will help you guys out a little bit. If you do have any other questions, anything like that at all, always, you know, email me at hwhairdesign@yahoo.co.uk or just through Instagram, and I will help you as best as I can. But I just thought this might be a little bit of fun to do every few days, just to stop me from losing my mind. But yeah, thank you again so much for everyone's support. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, I'll speak to you guys soon. Cheers!